Okay, so today I'm going to do another unboxing in my little unboxing mini series where I've done quite a few of these actually already. And so the last one I did was for the backbone. It's like a controller for the mobile where I put, you put your iPhone in it on either side and you are able to, you can use it on Android too, but like you put it on either side and you use it like a gaming controller. So I haven't used that too much. Some of these end up seeming like a waste of money. And unfortunately with these, I don't remember exactly how much I paid for each of them, but basically the whole thing altogether was only like $200, which might seem like a lot, but this is not something I would do very often. And so we'll look at each piece. This is like a multi unboxing where I'm looking at a lot of things together. But basically, the reason why I'm actually doing this is interesting because every Thanksgiving since I've come back to streaming, which is in 2021, I've had this tradition on Thanksgiving that I always do my Red Dead Bounty Hunter series. And so I typically would do it on PS3, like 21, 2, 3. I would have done it on PS3. Then I realized in 24 it was out on the Switch. So I did it on the Switch last year. And then this year I want to do it on PC. So, I would need the setup for that because I haven't used my PC much lately. I've been using either the mobile or like console or something. So I haven't directly used my PC or needed this. And of course, I don't really have like a great setup for that. Like I typically would just get whenever I would need a mouse or a keyboard. Of course, I use a gaming laptop anyway, so you might think, oh, you don't even need obviously I'm not going to use the touchpad, so you would need a mouse, but oh, you wouldn't even need a keyboard. But you kind of would, because if I'm sitting in front of like a monitor and I have like the HDMI from my computer into there, it's more convenient positionally not to have the whole laptop in front of you. You could just have the keyboard in front of you. But my point is, all the ones I've used over the years are just like these shitty $10, $20 ones that you get from Walmart or something, and nothing special, right? I've never really had much of a special setup that way. So I figured, okay, I'll get something decent for this, and it'll segue into me just using PC more, right? The laptop more. But basically, one of my key features of what I wanted was something quiet so that it doesn't get picked up by the mic, like either the mouse or the keyboard, that it shouldn't be so noisy that it gets picked up by the mic when I'm streaming. And so again, the Red Dead series being the reason why I'm doing this is kind of funny because it is Thanksgiving as we speak right now, which on one hand you might think is dumb because, oh, that's one day before Black Friday, so you maybe could have gotten something better and cheaper like that. I should have waited, but I needed it specifically for today because I'm going to be doing an extended episode of that. So let's look at what we have first of all. And so we have this gaming mouse. This is a Lightspeed G703 Logitech wireless gaming mouse. Right, so it seems like an okay one, and I think it is pretty quiet. Would be especially the point that I was looking for, right? I specifically looked that up. So I got all these at Best Buy. Again, for all of them together, it was only about 200. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what each one was. I'll try to tell you at the end. So yeah, here's the gaming mouse. Here is a small, and now I got multiple of something because that shows you how often I don't do this. Like I don't do it often, so I don't want to have to bother if one doesn't work or doesn't fit. Because like the table that I'm going to be using in front of, I'll have my laptop to the side, but I'm looking at the monitor in front of me, almost like a TV, and then have a table in front of me where this will be on. So this bigger one might not work as well behind. So I got two of them just in case. So I have an alternate setup. So this is a Huntsman Mini, so this will be a tinier one, right? Hopefully also quiet. Then you have the Steel Series one, which this one's always highly reputed. It even had on there like, oh, preferred by esports professionals, #1 in esports gaming, right? It says it somewhere there on the top. So the point is that I got a double of that you certainly wouldn't need to get, right? You would just pick and choose, but I think the smaller one might actually work better given my constrained somewhat setup. Then you have this little mouse pad. This is like a cheap mouse pad. This is the kind of this angle isn't the greatest to do this, but whatever. It's a cheap, like $10 mouse pad that's smaller. And then of course this is the standard sort of gaming mouse pad that you get now is the Steel Series stuff. And the reason why that's a problem is because sometimes it's too big, like it's meant to be for the whole table. So I'm not really a big fan of that because you sometimes don't want that. Like, so it's not a mouse pad. It's also for the keyboard. It's also for everything. Like you'll have to put the whole table, right? Everything on the table on top of it because it's just that big. So I've never been a big fan of these. I had like one other one of these from a while back, but I guess either the camera would have to be further back or like higher up or something because you can't really capture every every element of this. But yeah, let's go through each one, and I'll try to give you a figure on how much each one costs. Okay, so that's actually handy. I got a receipt in my email, and so I can look at that to determine what I paid for each one. So the total was actually 300 I gave, but 247 was the total. So a little more than you would need. Again, you could probably get enough of a setup for like 100, 150 just because, or maybe closer to 200 because you didn't need some of this extra stuff. I got a double second mouse pad, right? This one and that, and I got the double keyboard. So you only would have needed to pick one of those, so you could easily trim that down, assuming that you're using this as like a shopping guide or something. But yeah, let me tell you each one by one. So the small mouse pad, hang on. The small mouse pad was $7.99, so that would be so this was the Insignia $7.99 small mouse pad, like a typical, normal old school one that you would use, nothing special, right? Then $59.99 is the mouse, which I only got one mouse. So if this is an issue, then I guess my preparation would be in vain. Right, so this was $60, right? Doesn't seem bad if it's a decent quality gaming mouse. Then the Huntsman is going to be $69.99. Right, so this seems reasonable, a nice coloration to it and everything. Again, we'll have to see how noisy the keys are and stuff. That does kind of bother me, even outside of just whether the mic... I feel like typically the mic wouldn't pick it up, but anyway, but still. Then this one, SteelSeries, so that was $69. This one is $50. Actually, doesn't seem like a bad deal. There were all different kinds of this that went up to like $200 to $300 of this SteelSeries one, but... And then this was... actually $39.99 XL, SteelSeries. So again, none of them are too unreasonably expensive on their own. Like sometimes you can get one of these items, like just one of these for 200 plus, of like a higher end kind. So let me look at what I'm going to be using today, and we're going to do, like, let's start with the worst one. Again, this is just a typical mouse pad, but I might actually do this for the sake of the space on the table and everything like that. Okay, so I was trying to keep it a little neater in case, not that I would even return these, but just to keep the box preserved. But since this is such a cheap one and it's kind of annoying to open, I'll just do it like that. So again, this just seems like a standard normal mouse pad, nothing special about it. But again, for $8, it probably would serve your purpose as well. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of these full table ones, but I get why that's sort of the trend nowadays. So let's look at the mouse now. I'll try to keep a little better care with this box. So inside, I'm not really caring about the box. So I'm not going to use them for anything, but you probably shouldn't rate them so abruptly. So inside you get just this one little sheet of paper. And then you get, I don't know if I showed the box really too thoroughly. I don't know how well you can even see it because the distance here is not maybe the greatest, but that's okay. Right, so that's the box, which we're kind of destroying these things as we go. This will be the USB connection, which I wasn't even sure of that. So one of them I had before was like it needs the USB-C on like the small one. Right on the other side that I'm using like for my mic right now, this Rode Go thing. So sometimes that can be a little annoying. So this is, again, I don't know what the whole, there's like a stick associated with it. So this is to charge it, or, oh, it does have a USB-C option as well. Right, so this is like a little stick for the USB connector itself. Right, then you have this, and those can be maybe annoying because they could be a little bit easy to lose at times, but then you have the wire, which maybe if you want to use it as a wired one, you can do that. All right, so we cut those little pieces off, and then we just see, again, this is going to be the wired connection. So you have multiple options with this. Only thing I don't know is, does it run on actual battery, or do you have to charge it? Because this is the mouse itself. Let's get the feel. Let's get the sounds. Right. So it's pretty noisy. It's definitely, in fact, it's noisier than even what I would expect from a normal mouse. So that is unfortunate, but that's okay. I didn't, that's specifically what I looked up too. I was looking at quiet gaming mouse. Right, I wasn't looking under any other criteria. That would be like the on-off switch, the little red there. And then this, I assume, could be for the battery. So you turn it on, it glows green like that. You got the little light there. Right, that keeps changing color. But yeah, that little backside I couldn't actually get off. But no, this is the feel of it. Seems okay, but to me, it's actually too noisy. But again, I don't have a backup choice for this, so whatever, I'll have to deal with it. Yeah, it seems reasonably comfortable. I don't like some of the ones that have those weird bulges. Like there were some more expensive ones that are like protruding and they have like these weird shapes. Like this is a pretty standard one. Has the two buttons on the side, which is pretty basic. I mean, even back in the day, you would see people with these ones with like hundreds of buttons on the side, like Swifty doing macros in fucking Classic WoW or something. That you would have, all these different buttons on here. Like it's kind of an insult to consoles. Like, oh, my gaming mouse has more inputs than a fucking console controller does. Right, just on the side, it'll have like 20 buttons. So, but yeah, this isn't quite one of those. Nor do I really care or need that, but that could be like a challenge. Try to play games only with a gaming mouse, meaning you're not allowed to use the keyboard, and it would still be a better, more interactive experience than using like an actual gaming controller. Yeah, it's decent feel to it. So again, this was $59.99. Main complaint would be the sound. Maybe I'm just being too particular about that. And I'm not 100% sure when it comes to the battery. That's the only thing I want to confirm, is what this thing is on the back. Okay, so you have to push in, like on the bottom where that circle is, and it opens up to reveal that. I assume that's part of what is a rechargeable battery, not one that you actually have to put batteries in, which is fine, but that might be a little problematic if I'm going to go for a long session here. I may have to use it even in a wired form, which normally that would seem fine, but the angle of it might be a bit off, but whatever. The wire is reasonably long. So yeah, that seemed okay. Now let's look at the mini keyboard that I'm very going to likely use just for the, again, the convenience of space. Also, like with that smaller mouse pad, because I don't want it to be too just, I don't know, space consuming. That table's not big enough. I don't know. I find it kind of odd to do that, but yeah, Huntsman Mini. I don't know what this whole 60% optical thing means. Like that's how much of the buttons you can see on there, or this is all the box all around. This one was, of course, 69. So both of those are similar. 60. In fact, everything is almost the same. 60, 60, and then the wired one is 50, which for some reason I thought that would actually be more. Alright, so you get the little piece of tape off on the bottom there. Again, I'm kind of destroying these boxes, but let's see the big reveal. And as I'm doing these, I guess I'm trying to figure out like what logistically even makes sense with it, because like I'd have to like clip this mic on for me to talk like while I'm doing it, because I keep setting the mic down, and then also you would have to like have this camera a little further back or like propped up, because I don't know, I don't get get the angle on it. The inside of the box, you have this little black book here, and then a couple stickers, I guess. Razer Chroma RGB. Okay. I doubt I would be using anything like that. This is the book. How to use it. Just type the buttons on the fucking keyboard. But some of these of a higher level are going to be probably overrated. Like, what's really the difference between this one and the $200 one or something like that? Right? Like, are you going to really notice or care that much? Or that be something you could use like as an excuse, like, oh, that's why you're not successful as an esports pro, or something like, oh, because you don't have the right keyboard. Like I say that in chats, that, oh, you didn't have the right tutors or parents or upbringing or whatever. Like, as if that should be you know, an excuse, like, oh, I just didn't have the right setup, kind of a thing. Or even like as a streamer, you could say that, like, you don't have the exact, like, clearly the setup here kind of sucks with the camera. The problem with it is because it has to be plugged into my computer as I'm doing this, like I'm recording it. So this wire from the camera is super, super short, so it has to be like right next to that. So it kind of restricts the movement of where I can even put it. But yeah, let's look at a concept of rejecting the ego of the whole face cam culture, and part of like why I do it this way, or everything, like even like the glove, or even like why I never show face cam. It's the same thing of like, and I saw an ad the other day actually, like, oh, how to become, do you hate showing your face but you still want to be successful as a creator? It's like, as you know, they're doing like a whole seminar on that concept of not doing face cam, but it's a deliberate rejection of those sorts of things. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, or what your face is, or all these different things that people do focus and fixate on, and like cult of personality. Those things are arbitrary and interchangeable, right? They don't matter. You're trying to do whatever it is that you're doing should speak for itself. And even if it's not that substantial, fine, but you're not trying to hide behind or rely on that. Right, you're not trying to rely on cult of personality or some insignificant, oh, your appearance or your, you know, background or history or identity stuff. Like, none of that really should matter. It has anything to do with the actual content or substance of what you're doing, right? So it's a rejection of trying to focus on that. So this is going to be a wire for one that actually, this one I thought was wireless. The other one says wired on it. So again, to recap, this is 69 Huntsman, 60% optic, right? And so let's kind of test the keys and see how quiet or not quiet they are. Well, through that little plastic, it doesn't seem too loud. Or this one, I guess, I wouldn't mind being wired as much because you're not moving it around. With the mouse, you kind of want more freedom of movement, so maybe the wire gets in the way. That would be sort of my thought process. So it looks decent. The keys are a little noisy, though. That's unbelievable. I look up quiet for both, and they're both pretty loud. I can hear it. That's crazy. It's like they go out of their way to be noisy. Even ones that I get that are just not intended to be that would be would seemingly be quieter. So that's my complaint with both of these, is that they're a little bit loud. It has a couple of things that you could use as a stand on the back here, like that. This is probably the one that I'm actually going to use, though. In fact, I've already shown you the setup that I might just use today as I'm doing that Red Dead episode, because the small mouse pad, so it doesn't take up too much space, the small keyboard, because it also, again, doesn't take up too much space, and of course the only mouse that I got, both of which seem a little noisy, but I guess either I have to hope that you won't be able to hear it on there, because there is like a noise suppression thing that you already have when you're streaming that cuts out background noise, but this might be a little closer or somehow. So the only thing that wasn't clear with this is wired apparently, but see, this one says on it wired right in the description, but that one didn't mention it, so I thought that actually might be wireless, or at least have like the wireless option, but I guess it doesn't. Optical switches, where there's so much emphasis on all these colors, like, oh, you can make it change to pretty different colors, like, wow, you know, it's cool, but it doesn't make that part super clear actually. So form factor 60%, or is that just the size? I guess it's smaller than your typical TKL or full. So yeah, that's kind of cute, compact. Again, the main complaint about both of those would be possibly just the sound, that they're both kind of noisy as hell. So in fact, I may even just save these other, no, since I'm doing it, I may as well just do it. But these two I could almost do later, because I don't really intend to use them now. This has like some weird part on the bottom that I almost had to confirm before getting it, that you can take that thing off, because it seems annoying and it would take up too much space, but like to rest your arm on or whatever. So again, the mouse was the let's recap. The mouse is the, and I'm reading off my receipt, Logitech G703 Hero Gaming Mouse, and it is a $59.99. Apparently I got a $30 discount sale, which wasn't for Black Friday because it was before, it was a couple days ago, but so yeah, $59.99 for that Logitech gaming mouse. It is wireless option, at least. Then you had the mouse pad, which is $7 Logitech. Don't really even have to show that, but you know, okay, this is just like a normal thing anybody could use. And then the final thing is going to be the keyboard we just looked at, the Huntsman, for $69.99, and that is going to be apparently not wireless option, so you have to have it wired, which is fine. Like I said, the movements should be limited. Maybe they should make that a little more clear, like from the box. Maybe I didn't see exactly where it says that, or where it says only that, right? Because it could always have the option. So again, that would have been 100, again, 69, 59, and that $10. So it's like 100, within 150 you could get all three of those, and that's all you would need, right, for a small petite kind of setup. Again, the small keyboard, the small mouse pad, that would have been enough, right? Now this is just a bonus that I got extra things just because, since I'm there. That one, I actually didn't have to use the scissors, so we don't have to completely destroy the box of this. So this one is $59.99. This is the... Yeah, it's quieter when you have that plastic on. This is obviously the Steel Series wired, which I at least appreciate that it does say that on there. Whether the wire's attached to it or detachable, I don't know that. And it has that little thing on the bottom as a comfort bar to kind of rest your hand on. This is the little booklet, Apex 3. Steel Series Apex 3. So they had a whole section of these, right? Like I said, they go all the way up to like $200 or so. That would be like, you know, just higher end versions. So I mean, this is obviously one of the lower end, cheaper ones, and it's like, you know, it should be good enough. I don't really see what it could be so different or so special with that. So here's the little bar thing that's going to go on the bottom that I probably wouldn't even want to use typically. I mean, this setup is comical. Like, I can't even figure out, like, the space is so ridiculously constrained. How are you supposed to show something physically? Like, just further back? I really don't get it. It would have to be further back, and you'd have to have, like, more... I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that's like the little bar on the bottom. I might not even worry about that, but I'll just see how to attach it. But yeah, for each of these, let's address a different psychological fallacy again with like the face cam thing, or like you reject the ego and stuff like that. It's sort of like you want to live in a society that, or represent value in a way that doesn't appeal to the ego. So if you do something impressive, like let's think about chess, you have to actually be a grandmaster. You actually have to do something substantial, and that should speak for itself, instead of, oh, you're the Botez sisters or something, and you're appealing to Stimuli, Acme, Cult of Personality, whatever it might be. So you were rejecting that premise. So one of the projections that could come back at you there is like, well, you're only not showing that because you're embarrassed about it, or something's lacking, like, oh, you don't look good, or something like that, or right, like you're somehow negative in that way. But it could just be something else. You could be great by that standard, you could be bad by that standard, but you're rejecting the criteria altogether. You don't want that to be the basis by which something is valued, whether positive or negative, right? So that projection is interesting because it would be a defense like, oh, the only reason why you're criticizing that basis is because you would be flawed by it, or you're embarrassed of it, or again, you would be negatively perceived by it, or not benefit from it the same way, like, oh, let's say appearances, like, oh, the looks would come into play. That could be seemingly a myopic argument, but what if it's an overall rejection of that? Like, you don't want that to be the focus. You don't want other people to be, you know, valued in society for things that are superficial and don't really matter or have an impact. So you don't want to play into them yourself. You want it to be, okay, let whatever you're doing speaks for itself. Like, even here, the setup and all that could be shitty, and you could criticize that. Right, that's at least a topical, relevant thing. This one is much quieter. That one was kind of annoying. Yeah, that one is, the Huntsman is a fucking troll. Again, this is $50, not a bad deal for what seems like a decent keyboard. Again, it has to be what do you call it? It has to be plugged in all the time. This will be a wired one. The wire is attached. I don't think you can take it off. Escape key seems almost protruding out a little bit, but I mean, it seems pretty simple. Like, I wouldn't maybe know the difference too much between this and like just a regular one you get at Walmart, like for $10. Like, it doesn't seem that special. The keys are all kind of protruding out a little. You can see like this white layer underneath them. So if you like, right, there's that little white bumper. So they're like a little more where you have to press them in more. Where like there's a turbo feature maybe on some of these that they talk about where it's like, whatever, like sometimes what you don't want it to be like where you have to press in so thickly. You just like want to tap it lightly and get the input out of it and be able to spam it or something like that for, again, more competitive purposes or whatever. Let's just try to attach this and see what it would look like. Is it just me, or does that not even look like what is on the... Oh, maybe it's supposed to be like this. So let's see if we can figure out the mystery of how to attach this. Or maybe... Oh, it has like some magnetic... Almost like a magnetic thing. Right, where it'll just go on by itself. Kind of, but then it fell off. So can you like lift it like that? If you try to lift it, it falls off. So it's meant more just like when it's on the table. Right, it'll stay. It sort of sticks on. But I can't demonstrate it super well. So that's kind of convenient and cool. It doesn't look as obnoxious actually in person as it will. I'll try to hold it and show you like that. Yeah, that one seems good actually. I quite like it despite, okay, the wired maybe inconvenience, but it's actually much quieter than the other one, and it is big, but I mean... Is it, you know, if I could show you that table that I'm going to be using, basically the same size as this one, you can see how size constrained it's going to be. But whatever, that's not a fault of it. This is like a more normal size. In fact, let me see if it says that TK comparison. Is this the TK size or the full size? Like compared to the 60%. But whatever, obviously we're looking at two different sizes. This whole thing might have been unnecessary even to get. So again, that was the... One last time, let's show it. The... let me read the exact name, right? Apex 3 wired gaming keyboard, and it's going to be $49.99. And then now we have the SteelSeries gaming mousepad, which is going to be Quick Performance XL Speed, $49.99. And all of these things it's saying like, oh, I got like a $10 discount or $5 discount on some of this, which I don't know what the context of that is, if it's some early Black Friday thing or just a general sale, but it's basically saying that on everything. $30 I got apparently on the mouse. The other mouse pad I didn't get anything on. $5 on the wired keyboard. $10 on this. $50 sale discount apparently on the Huntsman, which is supposedly $119 normally, which I certainly wouldn't have gotten it then. So I tried to keep everything around the same level, right? So they're all around 40 to 50, so that doesn't seem too bad for, again, a one-time purchase. These aren't things that I get very often, or I arguably have never even gotten them before, in the sense that, right, like, I don't really care. I'll just get some random garbage from Walmart and just do that, or I would sometimes order like it was only like 10-20 bucks, but like a cheap one online that was like a silent gaming mouse, because I like that one. It was like Bornd, B-O-R-N-D. I would always get those because they're, you know, they were actually really good about being silent. That just seems bizarre though. Like when your mouse pad or your box is too big to even fit. Like you cannot see this. It's impossible. How would you show this? I guess like this. Like it's crazy. I don't know what setup you would have to use, right? Like I've done quite a few of these. I guess for most of them it hasn't been this many things or whatever, but I'm just trying to think like how you would do that any differently. It comes like it's a fucking school project with this little cardboard and the cover around it, but okay, so this one has like a little softer, lighter material than the other one I had that was similar to this. I think it might have been Steel Series too. It was kind of the same thing, where it was like a big table one. But just to be clear, this is bigger than the table I'm using now, or that I would be using on my setup. So I guess it's just not something I would even use. Or you you could like fold it, or you could only use part of it, or have some of it hanging off the table. Like I can't even properly show it. Like I don't get it. It's to imply that, oh, you're so good, or like in a shooter or something, that you would have to like flick, but your mouse sensitivity would be high anyway. You can like flick your mouse halfway across the fucking room in order to make some crazy 360 no scope trick shot, right? Is that what we're at? Like this is what it would require, so that you can have a mouse pad that can suit you for such a long purpose of movement. I've never had to use something like that before. Or like how wide is your range of your mouse? Sure, it might be like, just compare them. It might be like, obviously this is a little small and you might sometimes want to go outside the reach of that. I get it. But this is like way too big. So this is like the XL one compared to, you know, like let me see how the how the mouse even feels on it. That's crazy though, like just the size of it. Let's put the other mouse pad on this mouse pad and compare them. So if we move it here, it's hard to even really tell, but as long as it doesn't constrain its movement, it seems reasonable. There's some shit under there though. Right, let's do a real-time live test. So once again, it is the, and again, I'm not vouching for any of this or saying to buy it, like, oh, sponsored product. No. Like, I just got these on a whim. I'm just trying them. I'm not even saying that they're good or that I like them. My main complaints would be with the Huntsman that's too loud. Right, and even with this mouse, it's a little too loud, and with this mouse pad, it's too big. Right, so this seems fine, and then if we compare it to here, so in real time, I'm debunking the whole Steel Series and ending their whole career. It's like, oh, look at how it moves on the Steel Series, and look at how it moves here, and I'll even move it closer so you can compare. Like, I can't tell much of a difference. Right, like if I'm gonna go, let me try to be precise, like the corners or something. It seems relatively comfortable on there. So you're just paying for the size, because technically, how many of these are you getting with this? So it's a good ratio. You could cut that thing up and make how many of these out of it, right, if you wanted to. This feels comfortable. Again, the best kind of mouse pad would be one that you don't even notice is there. Yeah, this whole table size mousepad is kind of funny. I'm going to use this as my tablecloth for fucking Thanksgiving dinner, because that's how big it is. It'll cover up my whole table. That's the ultimate tie in here that we get. So yeah, let's do a quick recap. Again, I'm not necessarily recommending to get any of these. I'm just showing you them and you can decide for yourself. But again, they're reasonable value. Maybe I got somewhat of a discount on some of them for whatever reason. So they might be normally more than this, but again, the $7 mouse pad for everyday purposes seems perfectly what you'd expect. Let me go by the exact name. So this is $7.99 Insignia mousepad black, right? $7.99, pretty much what you expect. Can't complain for that price. Then you have the G703 Hero Gaming mouse. Again, seems comfortable and okay. My only complaint is that it's way too loud, the clicks. I don't know if you can hear them super well here, but I'll even... They do seem pretty loud for what it was expecting, and I was even looking up specifically that. So that is, again, G703 Hero Gaming mouse, $59.99, and normally it would be $89 apparently without the discount. Okay, Apex wired. This is the bigger one. I actually don't seem to mind this one, and it is quieter too. Maybe the keys just seem to protrude out a bit more. This is the $49.99 Apex 3 wired gaming keyboard by SteelSeries, and it is $54.99. Apparently, normally, whatever. I don't know why they keep trying to act like they're giving a discount, but whatever. I paid $50 for it. Again, not super loud keys, so that part at least I can appreciate. And it has this little comfort bar thing to go along with it, with a cool little magnet. But if you lift it up, not that you would really be doing that, it does come off pretty easily. So if you're kind of raging and moving shit around, it stays attached, but only if it's like on a flat surface level, which is what you expect anyway. But okay, and then the next one is going to be the mouse pad itself, the Quick Performance XL Speed SteelSeries. Also, it would be the big dude that we have here that I can't even really properly show. It seems comfortable, it seems fine. It also seems unnecessary and way too big. So that was $40, $39.99. And then the Razer Huntsman Mini Optic. But that's at least where I'm objective. Like, it seems kind of stupid, right? Like, I just happen to be getting these things. I didn't get them with any special rhyme or reason. But the one thing I was looking for, again, was quiet. I put that in the keyword as I'm searching on Best Buy or whatever, and then I go to get it in person, but it's like, that search term kind of baited me because they're not quiet at all. The $69.99 Razer Huntsman Mini 60% optic. This one also is wired. Apparently, like, I don't think there was another option for it. So you can kind of hear the sound of this one as well. So if I was to say, like, which of these am I actually satisfied with, that SteelSeries wired one doesn't seem bad, right? For the price, for $50, it seems good. It seems quiet, at least for my purposes. This mouse and keyboard are both kind of too loud for what I wanted, so I'm not entirely happy about those. This mouse pad is too big for even what I would want, so like a lot of these things I'm not even too happy with, but whatever, you get to show them, and maybe for your purposes it'd be different, like whatever, like generally maybe you don't care so much about the sound, and it might not even be picked up on that, like I said, but it's just annoying because that is specifically what I was looking for. So again, that was for $250. We got 5 different things. Again, you could easily do the same thing for like $150 and just pick or choose, right? Get either of the keyboards, which are almost the same price. Just get one or the other, and either of the, well, I guess the mouse pad wasn't much of a double, but so again, within $150 to $200, you could have gotten this complete haul with a mouse, with a keyboard, with a mouse pad, right? As if this is 40, let's say this is 60, and let's say this is 40, that's only 150. So what am I forgetting about that would make it more? Just the fact that I got the other keyboard and, right, the other mouse pad almost doesn't count, but yeah, whatever. That was like a fun little thing, and of course we're going to now decide which one to use. I'll probably end up using the, well, I mean, the mouse, I don't have a choice, right? I have to use this one, which I'm a little worried in case, oh, you have to recharge the battery or something. It's like, I can't do that while streaming, you know, like, I don't know how that's going to work. You can use it in a wired capacity too. But no, it's like, I'll probably use the small noisy keyboard just because, again, the space restraint, which I don't know what it is. Like, maybe you got to imagine like what other people's setup looks like, but you would just need a slightly bigger table, I guess, than what I'm using.